Right now. So my screen has started already. Okay, fine. So like I said, so this was the man our lecturers note yesterday, right? So this is basically what the man taught us yesterday. So we'll just go over it and then we'll also look at the past question paper on the same top on the same course, right? So I have my own document that I want us to use. So this is this particular document, which is this one. So once again, good evening, everybody. So please, if you we can, if you when I am talking, you can off your mic so that it will not be having too much noise at the same time. Please, if you can do that. Okay, so yeah, so study session two. That's what we are looking at. So what our lecturer basically was talking about yesterday, we are looking at presentation of data. How do we present data, right? Now, when you're talking about data presentation, what it means is like how do I present data for or someone that is not a statistician, or they just say they did something that involves the stakeholders. Now, when you're talking about stakeholders in an event or in a project, sometimes this most time the major stakeholders are not even people that have the knowledge of data analysis, or they don't have the knowledge of statistics. So how can you present this data in a simple form for these people to understand what you are trying to communicate to them? Do you understand? So that is basically what we are looking at in this. Yes, what we are looking at in this tutorial. How do you present data in a very simple way too, so that everybody will understand? And why is it? Why does data presentation matters? I can tell you that it makes work faster, it makes work easy, and there's a whole lot of meaning. And so yesterday we are looking at the major types or the major method or the three major methods of data presentation. Number one is tabulation, that is table, you know, tables, and we look at charts and then we look at graphical, like the histogram, right? So the table method of data presentation explanation. A table will present data in systematically in rows and columns. So it helps readers, that is, it helps people to see facts at a glance and make comparison quickly. Just like this now. This is a table. Now, this thing now, I'm trying to explain the characteristic of a good table to you, and I'm putting it in a table. So what that means is you see you can have the feature, the description, and example, right? The title. It tells you what the table is about. So every table must have a title, just like this particular table here is talking about this, right? So that's what it means. So I can decide to say, okay, I have a particular table that you want to show me data about customer transaction by year from 2020 to 2024. So a table also the table has columns. You know, I said that a table it present data in rows and columns, right? So the columns we have the rows and we have the source node. This one it tells us where the data is coming from, right? So for instance, you are writing a report on a particular study. You should and you are want to use the data, you should identify where the data is coming from so that you can actually justify that okay, yeah, this data is correct or not, or so that people will know that you didn't just form that data from your head. So especially when you are using data, when you are talking about things that concern a lot of people, or maybe the government, or things that have to do with people's health and all those things. So you need to reference where the data is coming. So that is the source table. That is where you tell us where the data is coming from. So these are the characteristics that forms a good table when you are presenting your data. Yeah. So we have example here. So we have like this is a table like so this table can show you something very quick. So we have example 2022. I have male customer, female customer, and right? So I have 150 and 100, a total of what? 250. That means if I add this number to this number, I know that 2020, I have 250 staff. And inside the 250 staff, customers, sorry, I have 150 were male customers and then 100 female customers. Very simple. Everybody can see this and understand. Now, why do we use tables? We use tables to summarize a large amount of data, to make comparison easy and to prepare data for graphs. You understand? So it is when the data is in a table like this, you can actually present that data in a graph or in a chart. Do you get? So the table is very important. Just like another practical example, UBS HR department collect staff training data. So in this now, you can have the department as a column, number of staff trained as a column, and the year. So the marketing department, they train about 250 people, and in operation, they train about 115 people, and in ICT, they train 10 people, and in customer service, they train 20 people. And this is the year 2013. So this table, it clearly shows which department got the most training, which is what? Marketing. It shows marketing has a total number of 25 staff that attended the training. So we have some critical questions here that you may decide to answer them. Why do you think a table is preferred before creating a chart or graph? Why do you think so? What makes a table poorly presented? A table can also be poorly presented when it is not actually interpreting data the way it should. So that table can still make work more difficult for people to understand, right? So these are just some simple questions that you can just look at, because at the end of this, I'm sending this material to the group so that you guys can see. So we have the charting method of the chart. Now we are looking at the charting method of data presentation. Now we use chart like the bar chart or the column chart to display data that like visually. So this is just a great one of compelling values. Like for instance, we have like the single bar, the multiple bar, the component bar, and the percentage component of a bar. So now these things are in different form, right? These things have different meaning. But a single bar and a multiple bar can be called like a stack bar, right? For instance, in a practical way now, let's assume this particular data that I have like this. I'm going to select this data set.
It's just resting.
I will bring it here. So this is just an Excel sheet. Then it didn't come the way I expected. Oh, that should be an PDF. So just want to get the table from that. So data from So I will just do I just show the difference between the two, like a practical difference between those that I can draw them, or from this our lecturer's material, which is this one. Understand? So this is the same thing we are doing. You can see the characteristic of a chart with it of a table. It has a title, must have a column, must have a row, have a data source. I must have the source. The same thing. So we're looking at the chart and we're looking at the simple bar chart, and then we are looking at the other one. What's my system? Hanging. So this is a simple bar chart, right? So this is a simple bar chart. And then what this means is you can see that the bars are just one, right? But then we have a multiple bar chart. So this one has now this is called a stack bar. I understand it's called a stack. Because why I'm saying that is because when you go to an analysis tool, either Excel or any other audit analysis tool, you are not going to be seeing anything like multiple bar or whatever. You see like either you see a bar chart or a stack bar. Now what that means is I don't know why this is taking time to open. Comment distance so high. Let's do this rubbish. Sorry. This person that. So we have this as a multiple bar. You can see you have one, two, two, three. Now this table, this chart you see here, it has what they call a legend or a key. Just like when you have a map, a map has a key that directs you, that actually guides you to understand things on the map. So it's the same thing with this, right? So what this table means is, okay, I think this has finished. So let me just copy this particular here. This should give me exactly what I'm looking for. So perfect. So this particular data in that table, I want to use it here. So I want to use it here. So I want to use this to plot that chart. So what means is this. So I'm going to select this guy, right? So when I click on this now, if I go to insert a chart, so we have different kind of chart on our system, right? This is chart, this is Excel, right? This is Excel. So when you click this, you can see it automatically recommend. Now what is now this system is already recommending me to use this chart. And the reason is because of the way the data is this. Now, if I only select this guy, these two now, if you look at the recommendation chart, it's a single bar. Can you see this is a single bar? So it's trying to compare the different number of female, right? This is a single bar, right? So I've selected only this and this. So it's giving me now this is in the year 1990. It's giving me the number of female in 1990. But then when I select these two now, if I select the entire both year male and female, it's going to give me like a a stack bar because it's trying to differentiate that okay, this one, can you see I can have this now. So this is telling me that okay, what I have here, though this is not giving me what I expected. I'll go it starts like this, I'll go to this, and it will recommend this. So now this is what I have. So this one I have, like I remember. So your table must have. So this is a stack. This is a stack bar. So it's telling me that okay, this red, this orange is for female. This is for male, right? So this is, let's say I label my data like this. You can see it's simple. It's just in a very simple way of comparing my data for me. You understand? So this is just a way of comparing two categories, one or more. You can have multiple categories that you can actually recommend. And when you go further into like uh in advanced data analysis tool, right? Like the Power BI, like this like all these ones, this Power BI. So these ones, it's they can actually in this column here now, I can inside this bar, I can also add other chart inside this same chart. You understand? That one is more advanced, but in the bar chart now, you just know that you have a single bar, which is this one. You just compare one category, which is the female. But in the multiple bar or the stack bar, it can actually compare one or more. You understand? So this is female and male in one chart and giving you that. And then this chart is the same thing with this. So it can be in this form or it can as well be like this. I go to insert and I go to this and it gives me this, right? So this is the same thing with this one. This one and this one they are the same. It's just they're actually interpreting the same data. But now, looking at the two of them, which one actually presented data in a very simple way for everybody to understand? And remember, the idea of data presentation is to present this data to people that are not statistics to understand. These people are not statisticians, but you want them to understand what you're trying to communicate to them. So I would prefer that you go with this one, right? But for fancy, for beauty, you can go with this one. But then some person will be like, it's be this. I don't really understand this thing. Oh. You get? But with this one now, everybody can see the comparison is so clear. That is basically what it means. So, and then we have This is just similar with what I just showed you, right? You can see, so it's the same thing. So this is what he's saying the component. So he named this one the component type, but it's just this one and this guy, they're actually doing the same thing. So you just get that and understand that this they are just used for comparing one or more things like that, right? So we move on to that. So in this chart too, I have some critical questions that you may, okay, I think these are the questions I ask. So I talk about this, and then we talk about this is the bar chart. So just like I did, I use that particular data to draw a simple bar chart. So I can use the same data now to draw a bar chart for a simple bar chart. Then you can use this data to draw what? A multiple bar chart, right? So this one, what does it do? It compares two or more related variables across the same category. So what is the category here? The gender. Remember. Now, you have the category here is the gender. Look at this one. This one said this simple bar chart, it shows a single set of data of what? One variable over time. So this is just one variable, which is profit. Now, when you come down to this one, this mode or this tag is showing you it want to compare two or more related variables across the same category. So what is the category? The category here could be the gender. To get this is the gender. So the gender has two categories. We have the female and male. Do you understand? But when you can even go to the category of the country. You can have Nigeria, Ghana, Zambia, all this one. So the category there now is the country. If you want to talk about the state is the category. Let's say I have like Lagos, I have Abia, all those ones. So you can try to use his tag to compare this guy over the years. So when plotted, each year has two bars side by side, one for males, one for females. Now, this can be used to compare groups like male versus female, rural versus urban areas, all of that. So you have the component chart, same thing with that, right? So this is basically like just what is here. Can you see? So here, each bar, total account, but color coded sections show male and female contribution. Now, this used to display composition within totals. So we have the percentage of component. We have the percentage component bar. So this is basically it just like the same thing with this. But what happened here is this. The data you are going to show here, it is not going to be like a whole total. It's going to be a percentage of total, right? So instead of me to show that, okay, I have 150 people, I'm going to get the percentage of the 150. So I have 250, right? I have 250 people. So inside the 250 people, 40%, which is the 100, is female. 60% is now what? Male. So total of 100 what? Percent. That is basically what it means. So this you don't show percentage instead of the whole total. So that's it. So we also have another chart which is called a pie chart. Now a pie chart is like it's just like pie chart has basically have different. You have a donut chart in the pie chart. Like for instance, let me show you what that practical. If I come back to this our data, right? So here you can see that we have this and the pie chart. This is not the meaning of it. This pie chart represents data as part of a whole, like a circular chart divided into slices. Do you understand? A circular chart divided into slices. So if you look at it now, example is the department and number of registered students. So we have accounting people 100, business 120, economics 170. So now you represent the whole of this side. The data you are looking for, it's this is the student and this is the department. Now the department, it's a remember the department here now is the category you are looking at. It is the one that have the categorical data, which is text. The number of students is now numbers. So you're going to slide this data into 100 pieces. Like it's the whole of that cycle is going to be total 100. So you're going to slice it to give you this number. That's basically what you're going to do. Just like this now. Uh, so we have this. So I'll go back to this guy and I'll do a pie chart. So this is a pie chart and a donut. They're basically the same thing. So I'm going to pick this, the pie chart. So it's giving me something like this. You understand? But this does not even define my data at all because this is very, very, very wrong. Because if I do this now, I shall select this guy, only this guy, female. But then it will not still give me, so I will pick the year. Let me just make the year to be this pie chart like this, and then I'm going to select data. So my data selection, this is my male data, then this is my female. So I want to make my legend to be the years. I want to make this to be the years. So I have this legend, and then this one, I want to make this to be the male. So I just have 150. So, like on this data now, this is kind of data now. You obviously can do that. The reason is because both side is numbers. Because this age, this numbers, say if you look at it, this 1990 is taking it as numbers, right? And you want to still take this one out. Because this category is also taken as numerical data. This is taken as numerical data. Now, in the scenario where you actually take that, it is when you have your category is have to be text so that you just compared the whole thing. And if you have questions, you can actually ask me before I move on. So each department gets a slice of a cycle, larger slider, more students. So that is what it means. Something like this you get. So it has some. So if you look at this particular batch pie chart, this is the presentation of it here. So I have some critical question here that you can actually attend it by yourself. So to continue from this our lecturer's note, when he's done with the charts, the bar chart to this level, and then he talked about the graphical method of data presentation. So that's what we're doing. The graphical method of data presentation. Now here we're looking at the histogram, right? Now a histogram shows the frequency distribution of continuous data using touching bars. So here you can look at it just like how the lecturer said. The histogram is just like a bar chart, but in the histogram there is no space in between what the values. So what that means is that if you see how a bar chart looks where it has spaces in between values, and histogram does not have that. Now the histogram, the x, that is the x-axis, that's the variable like the age, which is this one, and then we have the vertical, which is the y frequency, how often it occurs. So this is what we're having. So when we have this, and then when drawn, the bar touch each other, showing that age is continuous, you can immediately see most customers are between 34 to 41. That is actually what. So we have, I will go back to his own example to just show us what he have under his pie chart on histogram, which is this one, right? So this is a histogram. Basically, it's very simple. Everything the man taught this thing was very simple, and it's just the same thing what I said. You can say that the histogram is a graphical representation of a frequency distribution. There are rectangular bars placed side by side. The vertical axis represent the frequency. The horizontal axis represent the variable being represented. Very simple. So this is how a, 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 a histogram looks like. Very simple. So we can see the bars are together. So what the bars here are telling you like is telling you how the interval or the range between all these values. from here to here, from here to here, from here to here. So it gives an interval. And then at the end of it all, this spark chart now, that's what it said. It's supposed to form, it can tell you that your data is actually normal, right? When you talk about normal, is that it means your data does not have a lot of let me call it anomalies. Now, what that means is like there's no too much difference, because now if you look at this particular data now, if I draw a normal curve now from like this to like this, yeah, I will be able to have a normal distribution curve. But then it's kind of very some, it's not going to touch everybody, right? So I come like this. Sorry, I'm touching it, so it's come like this. So it will give me like a kind of that kind of a normal distribution curve. So with that you can say okay. So everything we did yesterday was just a very simple. Even with this material, you can read and you also understand. So and before this lecture, we're trying to see how we can look at some of the past question papers that we have, right? So I don't know whether you guys have seen past question papers on the. Do you guys know how to get the past question papers on the LMS?